Hey guys, before we get into the episode, I just want to tell you guys real fast about the sponsors of this podcast. First, we got the Grow Guru, my friend and podcast host. He is a growing consultant, so if you have your 329 medical card here in Hawaii and you're interested and want to grow your own medicine, you can hit him up and he can help you out and get you to the point where you can grow and consume your own safe medical cannabis. Also coming soon, the Guru's Grow Supply in beautiful Pearl City, so stay with us and follow for more on Instagram, the Grow Guru and the Guru's Grow Supply. Next, we have Pakalolo Seed Molokai. Shout out to Micah and Bongi for supplying Hawaii and the world with the finest genetics from beautiful Hawaii ne. You can hit them up on Instagram, Pakalolo Seed Molokai, or find their seeds on the Attitude Seed Bank and puresativa.com. And last, we got Retro Hawaii. Jerry, aka Miko Ferrari, is doing all the hard work to find you the styles that you loved back in the 80s and 90s. So you can follow him on Instagram and see what's available at Retro Hawaii. All right, that's it. Let's get into the episode. Peace. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Voices from the Planet. I am your host, Eric. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Thursday drive home. Just got on the freeway on the shortest on-ramp to ever exist in the history of on-ramps. Oh my God, things like 4 feet. And yes, everybody else in the cars next to me, I am recording a podcast while driving. Hey, I'm not holding a phone. I don't know what the laws say about that. I think I said this exact same thing the last time. Fuck. All right, but anyway, I'm back. It's been a while since I recorded a actual podcast for Voices from the Planet. Took a little extended break, and we're attending the 7th annual Hawaii Cannabis Expo, where we did record some stuff there, so that'll be out later. And instead of doing a podcast, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I just swap cast Everyone Knows You're High episode with Harrison Stafford of Groundation. Yes, you heard that right. So if you haven't yet, go check out that episode. But yeah, it's been a while. It's good to be back. You may be asking yourself, why is there another episode from the van? Well, my friends, that's because life. It's because my wife has a lot of work to do. She was busy at work, so she wasn't able to finish something she had a deadline for. And then usually I do these podcasts, as you know, from Auntie's Garage, but her having to finish this deadline by the end of the night and knowing she's going to have the 3 kids at home with her, I felt I should not do the podcast. Just skip it so I can be at home to help her. So I told her I'd just pick up the boys and come home to help out. And she said no need, because she doesn't want me to have to skip the podcast, which I appreciate. But, I offered, so I'm more than willing to skip out on recording a podcast for another week. But then she suggested, why not she just pick up the boys and then I can record one on the way home. And that's brilliant. That's why my wife is so amazing. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's caring. And she's thoughtful. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm recording this episode on my way home. In typical Hawaii traffic. So, how have you guys been? Good, that's good. I hope you said good. If you didn't, you need to reevaluate your shit, son. Which is what I'm doing currently, because there was a moment in time in the not too distant past where I was finding it hard to find things to be appreciative for. There's a lot going on in the world and in my personal life, and it was just kind of bringing me down. And we hadn't done Everyone Knows Your High podcast for a while, so I haven't gotten that dose of perspective where we do our thankful joints. And, I really needed that, because coming off the Hawaii Cannabis Expo weekend, there was a lot to be grateful for, a lot of connections and opportunities that were spawned from just being present at the expo. And, it took some shift in perspective for me to realize how awesome that was. One, because I do have social anxiety, being around large groups of people and strangers, and just, I don't know. It's different for me. And then on top of that, we were asked to moderate a panel of speakers during the expo. So if you don't know, the Hawaii Cannabis Expo is a 3-day event with vendors, within the Cannasphere, all kinds of stuff. So we had a booth with Professor P from Dynasty Genetics alongside the Grow Guru. He was gracious enough to include the Everyone Knows Your High podcast crew into the fold under the pop-up tents. And we were lucky enough to be able to, see a lot of the people we're friends with and get to do these quick segment type interviews with people we haven't seen in a while, or people who are visiting from the mainland. And back to what I was getting at, May from Malie Cannabis Clinic invited us to moderate a panel. So there was a panel of speakers that included May, Daniel Anthony, Jason Mathis from Equilibrium Genetics, Rusty Tapp from Fresh Farms on Maui, and Kim Koko Iwamoto, who's like a politician, for lack of a better word. But there was this panel. They were speaking about patient and caregiver rights with all these new bills and legislation happening surrounding the legalization of cannabis. So she thought we'd do a good job, and I feel like we did a fucking pretty good job. It was an hour long, and May did provide us with questions that she had thought up, which really helped, because thinking of our own might have been another challenge. So it was nice to be able to just go off what she wrote. And we were there for an hour, and we basically asked the questions that were presented to us and let the panelists speak. And then we opened it up for a short Q&A for the last 10 minutes maybe. So that was a pretty big opportunity. Public speaking is a fear that is up there of mine, But thankfully, through doing this podcast long enough, I feel a lot more comfortable. Even just holding a microphone, hearing your voice over a speaker, just doing things differently. Hearing your voice outside of your own head is jarring at first for people who are not used to it. So just having that already kind of, just already being accustomed to that really, I think, helped out a lot. And hopefully they'll have us back next year. I'd love to do it again. You know, during the 3 days of the expo, they do have MCs who, you know, walk around from booth to booth and let the vendors introduce themselves and say a little about their business. And I could totally do that shit. Granted, I would need to swear a lot. I was going to say a lot less, but not at all is probably the right call, because it is a family-friendly event, which also helps break the stigma, because, you know, families and young ones are all involved in these types of businesses, and they are sometimes the benefactors of the plant. So, oh shit, let's fix that. Here we go. Sorry, guys. You know me, bro. I'm driving home, and I got this thing on a magnet, bro, and so bear with me. I appreciate you guys. I did buy this other one that suction cups to the fucking window, but it's way too bouncy, so I'm not gonna use that. But unfortunately, everything is bouncy when you're recording in a car, and that's fucking super bouncy. Hold on, let me try adjust this a little bit more. Cool, is that working? I think so. Alright, well, anyway. Technical difficulties from the mobile podcast studio. But yeah, the expo was great. It was nice. I mentioned this on Everyone Knows You're High recently, that it was really nice to be around people who were genuinely appreciative and happy to see you and have your presence there as well, because, you know, it's not very often you get to see some of these people. Sometimes it's only at this expo. And those guys are smoking weed. Busted. You're busted, motherfuckers. Just kidding. I'm not going to say anything. But, yeah, just seeing familiar faces, reconnecting with people that you haven't seen in a while, and, yeah, it's good fun. So, even though it is, again, outside of the comfort zone that I'm usually dealing with, yeah, it was a great experience. Good fun. All right, so traffic update. We've been making pretty good time so far. 13 minutes in. Well, since I started recording this. But, what was that? Yeah, I'm starting to hit with a slowdown now. To kind of get back into what I was talking about that is, you know, making it a little difficult for me to be grateful and see the positive in things. It's just like, you know, there's so much negativity, and with all that's going on in the world, it's just everywhere, dude, and it's hard to escape it. Everything's fucking expensive. Times are rough. People are struggling. You know, miscommunications and breakdown of communications, work stress, you know, home stress, kids stress, wife stress. I mean, it builds and builds sometimes, and, you know, you get into these modes and these ruts. And I think that's also another good reason why it's important to be around people who do appreciate your presence, because it makes you feel valued. It makes you feel loved and cared for. And, you know, granted, people have different ways of showing how they love you and care for you. You know, your closest friends might talk the most shit, but they love and care for you dearly. I guess it gets into kind of like the love languages of different individuals, and navigating and trying to figure out, like, if the way you show love is enough for them to realize that they are loved? Or are you needing to adapt to the way they need to be shown love and adjust accordingly? Or do people need to adjust on that same kind of token, but just on the other hand, like realizing this is how someone shows love and accepting and, you know, appreciating that for what it is? It might not necessarily be the way you want it or need it, but if you know, you know. And if you don't know, then that I can imagine that would be difficult. If you're looking for a specific love language, or you have expectations for a certain thing and those expectations are not met, for me, that's something I've been going through and dealing with through therapy, is managing expectations and attachments to expectations, because things don't always turn out the way we want. People don't necessarily live up to the expectations that we place on them. Sometimes they don't even know we're placing expectations on them, and that they've fucking fallen short of those expectations, and that you're harboring resentment now because in your mind they've failed you. And I will tell you honestly, in my life, I know I have not lived damn. Don't comment on the mic. Jesus, sorry about that. But I know I've disappointed and let down a lot of people in my life, and continue to. But the thing for me is, I don't value people on whether or not they've met my expectations. I like to say that I'm able to show grace in those times where, if I know I'm not even communicating my expectations, then how can I expect someone to know what I expected and then to meet that? So I tend to let a lot of people slide. Maybe that's a boundary issue for me. I don't fucking know. But I let a lot of shit go. But then there's a lot of shit I don't let go too. I think we all know the feeling of harboring resentment and holding on to things that are unnecessary. In the grand scheme of things, in the totality of the timeline that we are on, like, it's just a small fucking blip. But it's hard not to deny that in those moments, those feelings are real, but knowing how to navigate through them so that way, well, for me, that way I don't lash out or misspeak, because I do have the tendency and the capacity to lash out. And I don't like that about myself. I really fucking don't. I wish I was more in control. Like, I feel like my hindsight time is pretty fucking quick. Like, as soon as I know I've crossed that line, I can realize I've done it, but by that point, it's too fucking late. The damage is usually already done, and now I'm, hurting the ones I love, or, feeling like a complete asshole and having to, like, make amends for the things I said out of anger. Calais did point out to me that I do drink a lot of energy drinks, and I've fallen back off the wagon, or I'm on the way. I don't know what it is, but drinking energy drinks again, and he pointed out or called me out on the fact that on the last episode I was over hyper, and maybe I did read somewhere that excessive caffeine can lead to mood swings. So, but I feel like, when I got a little extra money, and it's easier for me to want to buy an energy drink. Like, when funds are a little on the tighter side, it's easy to just say, nah, I won't get one, or nah, I don't need it, and then brag about it that I'm not drinking them. But, it's really because I'm trying to save that $4 a day. But, when, I got a little more discretionary funds, then I'll treat myself. But maybe treating myself is not even the right way to look at it, because I guess, are these energy drinks actually doing me any good if they're contributing to the mood swings? Maybe not. Do they actually help keep me awake when I'm tired, or when, it's been a long night and I have to go to work the next morning? Yeah, sure they do. Are there other maybe more or maybe less caffeinated ways to do that? Maybe. Have I looked into them? No. But, that's where I'm at with that. I feel like the battery on this vape is going to die soon. I'm going to have to reach into my utility belt and pull out another one. Or is it that I just packed it too full and it's not getting enough proper airflow? But, yeah, getting back to the expo. I guess, we talked about it on that podcast. I don't need to talk about it here. I mean, I just was getting into some personal shit. And I'm trying to change the subject. I've recently been sleeping on the couch at home. Not because I'm in the doghouse or anything. Because my wife and 1-year-old have all been sleeping on the couch lately. I just don't like the vibe in my bedroom at the moment. It's still fucking cluttered as shit because I don't know if I'm sure I talked about it a million times on here, but we had to switch rooms with my mother-in-law, and the studio got moved out, but everything during the move just got piled up in our bedroom, and now it's just fucking chaos, and I don't like it. I don't like looking at it. I don't like being in there, so I'm just avoiding that room. I need to take action on it, however. I got nowhere to put some of this shit, and there's just too many prerequisite tasks that need to be done around the house that would help alleviate some of this shit, but too busy is an excuse, lack of motivation is a fucking excuse, but I know the honey-do list that I have, and I just been slacking. But I've been sleeping on the couch. My room is a mess. I mean, there's a lot of contributing factors that are leading to all this shit, and part of that is just the amount of shit that we have. A lot of we need to go through a ton of it, but a part of me just wants to dump it, before somebody calls hoarders on us and they show up trying to fucking help us. We tried to Marie Kondo that shit a while back, but that was years ago. But this new mountain of clutter, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to begin. Which leads to a paralysis of doing anything. which sucks. It hurts because the more I think about it, the harder it gets to just do anything about it. And then it just leads to aggravation because I know it's irritating my wife. And yeah. So with that being said, I haven't been sleeping very well because just couches are not as comfortable. Granted, our couch is pretty big. We have a gigantic L-shaped couch. So, it's not the worst thing to sleep on. However, sleeping on it every night has got to be doing some damage to it, making it all droopy in the middle and shit. I can really hear that fan from that power inverter. I mean, it seems to be working. It's keeping the laptop alive. It's actually charging it, which is great. I did prove that I was able to do this on battery life. However, when I popped open my laptop to do it on the way home today, it was like 10% battery, so I had to come up with a solution real quick. Luckily, I was able to get this. Might use it for a little while and then try and return it. Get my money back. Which is weird. The guy tried to upsell me and tell me, oh, you need at least 100 watts, so go buy that one. And he pointed to this $70 one, and I was like, what? And then I look at next to it, and there's a 500 watt one for $30. I'm like, huh? And then I look to the left one more time, and then there's a 150 watt one for $29. All the same brand, just getting smaller and smaller as I pan left. So I got the smallest one for 150 watts for $29. Actually, the return policy is only if it's defective. So if it's fucking working, I can't return it. So I got that. Question: Has anyone noticed that the touchless feature at point of sale machines at different stores where your card has a chip so you can just tap it? Has anyone noticed that now they're requiring you to enter a PIN? I mean, I appreciate the added security, but that was the whole point, was to not have to touch it. Or is it just that was the, how it was sold to us during the pandemic? Because that shit was a result of, the new rules and fears that abounded during the pandemic. But now, after I tap my fucking card at things, I'm going to have to punch in my PIN number anyway. So what's the fucking point? Now are we all just chipped, I guess? Because everybody got a debit card that probably has a chip in it, right? Tell me what you think in the comments below. You know what's fucking funny? I just remembered. Fuck, man. So, in the recent episode of Everyone Knows You're High, if you checked it out on YouTube, you'll notice there was a couple moments where I asked one of our producers to beep something, or that I would beep it and I would send him the audio, which in our, process of file transfers, that's not how it works. We usually just export the file right there and transfer it and give it to him, and he goes and syncs it up and does all the editing, blah, 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 blah. But I took the audio and I beeped it because there was a couple things mentioned in there that, I would prefer weren't. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter. So I'm willing to let this go as well. But I had asked him, can you please beep this, or I'll beep it, and da-da-da-da-da. But then I realized, oh, shit, I didn't give him the audio that had the beep in it. So I didn't remind him. I was just hoping he would remember. Again, setting expectations for people that they have no clue exist. So I did my part for the audio only version, and then I remembered. So then I saw the message from him that the audio or the video was scheduled to premiere on YouTube. And then I was like, oh shit, did you censor those things? And he was like, no, LOL. I was like, fuck. And there's where you have the decision. Do you let it go, or do you like make a big stink? Because he'd have to take it down, go through it and find those points, put the beep in, re-export it, re-upload it, which takes hours. So I yielded, or I just was like, fuck it, whatever, it's all good. And it is really, it's not the end of the world, but it's just kind of something funny because I kept making jokes about beep that or edit that out or do this, but then I even made a joke like, it's going to be funny that if I forget, which I didn't forget, but producer man forgot. So note to self, future self and future whatevers. Make sure if you do have something important you need to edit out, let's make sure we take care of that before we leave with the files we're going to use. Because, honestly, if we did throw the beeps in, it would have made those parts in the podcast a little more funny. But now, when you say beep that and there was no beep, then it just seems silly. It's like, what's the point? What was the point? What else? Red truck. Just gonna start calling out cars I see. Gray Tacoma lifted. Insert Joe Coy joke here. It is strange though that so many people in Hawaii love Tacoma trucks. I know there is a demographic that buck against that stereotype and go by, Dodge Rams and shit. But there are a lot of Toyota Tacomas on the road in Hawaii. Granted, I'm only seeing one right now, but there's another one too. They just appear miraculously out of nowhere. Passing exit 10. Sorry, Kalei, I didn't let you know earlier that I wasn't coming, but I'll let you know as soon as I get home and I finish recording this podcast. I've been following this same Infiniti G37 for a while now. I wonder if they can see me in their rearview and are wondering what the hell's happening. So if you drive a blue Infiniti G37, license plate TYX887, I'll beep that. But just know that Voices from the Planet was recording right behind you the entire drive home on Thursday, February 15th. Turn it down, brah. You ever heard of noise pollution? Jeez, these motherfuckers with their sounds. I am tired. But luckily I won't be up late tonight because I'm headed straight home. Can make some dinner. get the homework done, and be ready for Friday. Been doing a ton of interviews for work, conducting them. I think I probably mentioned that before too. Maybe not. But I do enjoy them. I don't like the tracking and the scoring and the judgment that comes after the fact, but I do enjoy the interview process of talking to people. Granted, I have the same set of questions I gotta fucking ask everybody, without straying too much, but it is interesting to get to talk to all these different people. It's good practice for the podcast. Although if you run back this past Expo's interviews, I did not do very well, but I will chalk it up to being maybe a little too high on a couple of those days. Oh, I'm passing the infinity. Bye-bye. See you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Tacoma, another one. Tacoma, another one. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people sometimes. I feel like when it's like I'm in control, which in this instance of being the interviewer, it's and more enjoyable. The shoe's on a different foot this time. I haven't had any crazy people yet. Everybody seems pretty normal. Which, if you come to think about it, you might not fit in working with us if you're normal. You might have to have a little bit of crazy in you to be able to survive with us. We're a bunch of crazy motherfuckers. Oh, geez, we're crooked again. Hawaii, fix your goddamn road. See, this is a testament to the shitty fucking infrastructure we have here that I'm trying to just drive home and the road's so bumpy that my phone won't even stay put on the goddamn magnet it's on. Fix your shit, state of Hawaii. Pretty overcast. You never thought you would get a weather update on your drive time home, did you? What the fuck? Oh, that was a weird noise. That's that weird clampy thing that was all jiggly and wiggly. Sigh. Audible sigh. We're making really good progress on this drive home. Traffic has not been that bad at all. Shout out to all you on the road right now. Driving safe. Being considerate. Keeping your proper distance from the car in front of you at all times. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. So, I will remind you again about the wonderful sponsors of Voices from the Planet, and they are The Grow Guru, my homie Calais and co-host of Everyone Knows You're High. If you're interested in learning how to grow your own medical cannabis, hit him up on Instagram and set up a consultation. And then hit up the soon coming Guru's Grow Supply. He's redesigning everything. It's going to be an online shop with deliveries on Oahu. So if you are familiar with the shit he used to carry, he's going to have it all again. And you just order online and they will be shipping or delivering to your house. And Pakalolo Seed Molokai. Shout out to the boys over there. It was good to see you guys. Oh, I see it shaking again. It's good to see you guys at the expo again. If you're interested in growing your own medical cannabis, you can hit them up as well and check out their genetics on the Attitude Seed Bank and puresativa.com. And last but not least, Retro Hawaii. My boy Miko Ferrari is bringing back all the retro styles from the 80s and 90s that you love. So check him out on Instagram as well. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm at like 34 subscribers on YouTube. Let's fucking get that up, guys. Come on. I know you guys over there who subscribe to Everyone Knows You're High know about this podcast because I say it every episode. So why don't you do me a favor and hit that subscribe fucking button. All right. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Love you guys. Peace.